old, 28 now, so more than half my life I've been playing role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, stuff like that. Almost always in the role of a dungeon master, because I was always the one that owned the books and conned my friends into playing a handful of sessions before we inevitably got bored of it, but, well, they got bored of it. But I had 5 stories I wanted to talk about, the first of which is one of the rare occasions in which I was a player in a game and not a dungeon master. And this was like a 2-year-long Pathfinder campaign that I was a player in. To this day, it is still the longest consecutive campaign I've been involved with. We met twice a month for 2 years, so that'd be like 48 sessions of Pathfinder. And it was all done in a homebrew campaign setting. So, in this game, I was playing a Dampier, which is a half vampire, and I was a swashbuckler, which I don't know if it was in a supplement or if it was a homebrew class that I found or something, but I was playing a Dampier swashbuckler. And I had a rapier, vampire fangs, and if any of you have read the Legend of Drizzt books, there's a character called Jarlaxle. And Jarlaxle is kind of what I was modeling my character after. Now, Jarlaxle's a drow, not a half vampire, but he has a lot of magical items. He has like feathers, coins that do different things, like a magical hat. So that was my entire idea around my character as a half vampire, so I had fangs as an attack. I had the rapier, but then my character had a hat that had a coin that would turn into a boat if thrown into water. And I had a feather that if I took it out of my hat and held it, it gave me feather fall. And I had a few other little magical trinkets and stuff. My character also had a pistol hidden up the sleeve of his jacket. He would do this and the pistol would come out of his sleeve, kind of like an Assassin's Creed dagger, and he would have a little one-shot pistol. And we had this encounter. The DM for the game had us all write down our character backstories and biographies, things of that nature. And he had me talk about how my character became a half vampire. So I ended up creating this whole vampire clan tree hierarchy of all these vampires. Like, there's this master, this lord vampire. I can't remember what his name was, but there was some vampire lord, and our campaign had taken us to this big castle out near a beach. And we had just started down in the dungeon. We slayed, I forget exactly what it was, but it was some, like, a demon that had been summoned in the basement. We were going to the basement, there's like a summoning circle on the floor, and like 3 dead bodies that had been mutilated, and then we ended up fighting a demon. We killed that demon, and then we went upstairs into the main great hall of the castle, and we were in this room. And there was like a big cathedral with 3 stained glass windows at the back, overlooking the water, because like around the beach, like up on a cliff, there's 3 stained glass windows overlooking like the water out, over the edge of the cliff. And each of the windows depicted a different animal. I think one of them was a believe a chimera. And when we stepped into the middle of the room, there was like this magical circle, like plate, this metal plate on the floor. And when one person in the party stepped on it, the animals sprung from the stained glass window and we fought them, defeated them. Now, a little bit of backstory before I get into what happens next, but my swashbuckler was cracked. I put all of my points, basically all of my points into dexterity, and we were like level 11 or 12 at this point. I think my dexterity was around 25, 26, it was like a +6 or +7 or something like that. And because of the feats I took, I had like rapier, like I said, I was using a rapier, I had 2 rapiers. I had a silver rapier for fighting the undead. It was like a magical rapier and then just a regular one. And my rapier, because of my dexterity, I had like rapier proficiency, like finesse fighting, all this stuff. I was like critting on 14 pluses. So I was, and Pathfinder has crit confirmed, so I was critting on 14 pluses. I was using my dexterity modifier instead of my strength modifier for damage, like I was a powerhouse. And my dodge was super high, my AP was pretty good, like I never got hit, and I just always was hitting crits using my dexterity, like it was a pretty broken character, to be honest. I was kind of like leading the party in, like I was the damage. It was like me, my swashbuckler, and we had a samurai in the party. We had a warlock in the party, and we had a spellblade, I think it was, this character whose sword was enchanted, and could like talk to him, and he could apply magical, imbue the sword with magic. But anyway, so, I hit basically everything because of my crits and my bonuses and my dex and all that. I hit everything, but, so that, I tell you that to tell you at that moment after we defeated the animals that sprung from the stained glass. At that moment, everything went dark, even the outside. Like, the sun immediately went down. It didn't even set. The interior is dark. Right? It was like everything was pitch black. And then all of a sudden, the flames all around the inside of the room just light up. All the flames come to life in these, like, candles. The front doors to the cathedral fly open, and in, slowly and kind of like gliding, is the vampire lord who's responsible for my creation. Now we all take the next 3 turns trying to hit the vampire lord, and I use the word trying. Me with my rapier and critting on 14 pluses, I can't land a hit. I think he had an armor class of like 60 or probably in the 40s, but he had a ridiculously high armor class. The DM never ended up telling us what the armor class was, but none of us could hit him. I couldn't hit him with my rapier. Warlock couldn't land spells on him, like the dude was just a tank, and he wasn't fighting back. He was just marching towards us slowly, as we can't do anything to hurt him. Like I said, we're probably level 10, 11. So, we come up with the idea that we have to flee, but we can't go through them. So, I decide we're going to jump out the stained glass windows. So we run to the wall that is the windows. My teammates all go up on the edge, and they climb up into the broken, visages of the windows, go up on the ledge. I climb up. I take the coin, I take the little swan coin out of my cap, and I throw it down to the water below. As soon as it hits the water, it turns into a big throwing everything we had at him. Couldn't do anything. Get the tiny little one-hit pistol for 1 damage off. And I jump out the window, holding on to my feather, float gracefully down to the water, climb into the boat, and we sail away as he looks out the window after us. And that was one of the final sessions of that campaign. We didn't continue on much after that. We kind of had a falling out in that friend group, and none of us talked to each other anymore, but the game itself was fun, and that was one of my most memorable moments from that game. Now I want to move to a 4th edition game that I DM'd. All the rest of these are going to be games that I DM'd. 4th edition, I got into D&D with 3.5, and I wasn't a big fan of 3.5. I was also a really big fan of World of Warcraft, and so were a bunch of my friends. So 4th edition comes out, and a lot of people disliked 4th edition, the way it kind of treated Dungeons & Dragons like a video game with the way the attacks worked. You had I think it was like on-demand attacks, encounter attacks, and daily attacks, if I'm remembering correctly. And a lot of people disliked the system. I disliked the system. But for my friends who were into World of Warcraft, it was a really easy way to get them into Dungeons & Dragons, because it video gamified the system a little bit, and it kind of gave them, like, what I would do is when I made people's characters, like, you know, we did their character sheet, I would print out their cards, and they would have their green cards for their on-demand attacks, they'd have their red cards for their encounter attacks, and their, like, bluish-black cards for their daily attacks. And I made these cards that they could hold in front of them, kind of like a hotbar, like a WoW hotbar, and they could just, you know, push the card up for the attack they wanted to do, and that worked for them. We also used miniatures and things like that. But I had a game with all brand new players. 2 guys who were playing Dragonborns. They were both Dragonborn warriors, and they were playing brothers. So they were playing 2 Dragonborn brothers that were warriors. We had one guy playing a elf ranger named Essel, and I only remember that his name was Essel because he originally wanted to name his character Shitty Legolas. But I said, you can't name your character that, and he said, I'm gonna name him SL then, like, as the initials for Shitty Legolas. And eventually I talked him into making his name E-S-S-E-L, Essel, but that is what the name stood for. And then we had my one friend who ended up playing a cleric, so we had 2 warriors, a ranger, and a cleric. And this was their first time ever playing Dungeons & Dragons, so I walked them through a very simple dungeon. The setup was easy. They were on a mission from an antique dealer. He had a amulet on a necklace that had been stolen from his caravan, you know, like a cart caravan going from town to town. It was an antique dealer whose caravan had been raided by goblins. They had taken his super valuable amulet off of his caravan and taken it into this cave, this goblin cave. So the players had to go into the goblin cave, kill the goblins, get the amulet. Very simple stuff. These players rather, were more interested in the combat side of things. You guys might be aware of the stereotype of murder hobos that would perfectly describe this party, and I kind of laid into that a little bit. So we're having them go through the cave, but the players are picking up the system quickly. What I did early on in the cave is I put a very simple trap, like a trip line, that one of the players inevitably Never Lead Trips rather, and like a log, you know, like a log comes in like this and tries to pinch him in the middle, and they do an evade check, a dodge check to get out of it. But I put in their mind early the traps could be. Alright, that was weird. It sounded like there was like somebody in my backyard like yelling, but I guess it was just a neighbor or something, I don't know. But anyway, I got them into the other systems of the game early. There was a poison arrow trap that they detected and avoided. There was a flooding trap that they detected and avoided. And my players worked their way through this dungeon, killed a lot of goblins, and they were all learning their skills, using their skills to their advantage. They get to the end of the dungeon, and when they get there, they find a old wooden box with the amulet. Now, the antique dealer gave them very specific instructions. Do not open the box. Do not touch the amulet. Well, one of the two Dragonborn warriors, he opens the box, and inside is a silver amulet with a large, faint, like pale red crystal in the middle. And the cleric did a detect magic check on it. Just proud of him for thinking to do that. And he noticed that it had very, very powerful magical energy. But he said that he couldn't determine whether it was positive, negative, what have you. It's just very powerful. The warrior, one of the two warriors, thinking that this might be something that would make him more powerful, immediately, without hesitation, puts on the amulet. And I tell him that he feels no different, and that he thinks that it might be fake or does not have any powers or anything. So he says, okay, I'm going to take it off, put it back in the box. I guess we'll get it back to the guy and get the money if I think it doesn't do anything for me. And that's when I tell him, no. In fact, you cannot take it off. And that amulet was bound to him. And a wave of goblins at that moment came in and attacked them. And they killed the goblins. But the Dragonborn warrior, upon getting goblin blood on his newly worn amulet, noticed that it started to glow. And after the session, I had told him, because we knew this was going to be a one-off. After the session, I told him that the amulet eventually, if enough blood was spilled onto it, would have turned him into a lich. Two more I want to talk about here. The first one, these are just going to be quick ones. I ran a Star Wars game. I have all three more. This one isn't going to have much, but I ran a Star Wars game where it was interesting because none of our players had lightsabers. One of them had very light force powers, but none of them had a lightsaber. There was a bounty hunter, a soldier, and a scoundrel, I think. This was the Star Wars role-playing game. And they were on a planet, and they were in this large, like imagine this is the ground, and there's a giant skyscraper above, but there's also like levels below, multiple levels below. I don't recall exactly why, but they were going down into the depths of this place to retrieve something. And they get to the bottom, and they encounter a Sith acolyte, now not a Sith Lord. He has a lightsaber, he has abilities, definitely a powerful enemy, especially because none of them have lightsabers or anything, but they're able to keep him at bay, and these are experienced players. These guys have played a lot of role-playing games in their, in their time, so they're running away, they're using the environment, they're doing things to keep him at bay. But as they're doing this, I think one of the players is planting explosives all the way as they're running up to try and get to the surface level where they have their spaceship. He had like a ton of explosives. His whole character, like, backstory was that he was like a pyro guy, demolitions expert guy. So he had tons and tons and tons of explosives. And he's planting them all over the support beams as they run up this like circular staircase. They get outside, and the Sith Lord, not the Sith Lord, the Sith Acolyte has been, following them, but he's been slowed down. They get outside, and boom, the guy hits the button and brings the entire building down on top of the Sith Acolyte, killing him. That was just a really cool demonstration of, like, using things that sometimes players don't consider as player options, as tools, weapons, whatever. A zombie game. I forget what it's called. I think it was called, like, something Outbreak, but it was this zombie role-playing game. And we had one player who was going, like, full stealth assassin. He had a katana and a crossbow. But this player kind of had like a lone wolf mentality. Like the party would be wanting to do things. Like, okay, let's go look for a car, let's go find shelter, stuff like that. But he would always like run off and do his own thing because he was like stealthy. He thought he could get away with it. So I kind of had the frame of mind of like, okay, how can we put him in a situation to discourage this behavior? Now, this zombie game was very crunchy, very fatal, deadly, not very high fantasy. It was very realistic. So I put him and he runs off and he goes to a house. And it's a 2-story house. And on the bottom floor, it's all totally locked up and the windows are boarded. So he says he's going to kick the door down, which of course generates a lot of noise. And I have him going inside, and there's nobody inside, there's no people, no zombies, but I explained to him when he was going in that you kicking this door down is going to generate a lot of noise. He's like, yeah, whatever. He goes in. And as he's going in, he hears the moans of zombies getting closer and closer. He looks outside. There's about 11 zombies coming his way. And again, he has a katana and a crossbow, so his reload time, it takes him an entire standard action to reload at the, for the trade-off of having a silent weapon that's at range. So he uses his crossbow, takes out one zombie with a headshot, reloads. By the time he finishes that reload action, the zombies are basically already at the front door, so he runs upstairs to the 2nd floor. But he's now upstairs. There's one staircase in and out. And he decides he's going to jump out of the 2nd-story window. So he jumps out of the 2nd-story window and he fails his, like, break fall check. I think it was called like break fall or acrobatics or something. And he breaks both of his legs and he lands. So he's trying to crawl away as the zombies basically run over him and, devour him. Finally, one last game I want to talk about. This is from the game Coyote Trail, I believe it's called, which is a western, like a Wild West themed tabletop role-playing game that is very, very realistic. Like 1 or 2 gunshots, depending on the gun, kills your character. You have like 3 or 4 hit points. Every gun does like a D8 for damage. Like it's a deadly system. You have to avoid combat. players, this is the same group from the 4th edition story I told you earlier, the Amulet. These players, they go to a saloon in Newtown. They're playing a gang of outlaws on the run from the law. And their whole thing is they have to, kind of stay disguised, keep low profile because they're wanted criminals, wanted posters, things like that. They go to the bar to go to the saloon, get a room. One of the players decides to go behind the bar and try to rob the bar. They want to go and steal some money out of the deal. But they were drunk because they'd been drinking at the bar, so their stealth wasn't very good. Well, the stealth wasn't good to begin with, plus they were drunk. So they got penalties. And they, unsurprisingly, fail their stealth check. They get caught trying to steal from the bar. They shoot the bartender. Now, they have this entire town against them. There's 4 players inside the saloon, and then 20 to 30 townspeople outside the saloon attacking them. One of my players decides to open the door and invite the people in to negotiate. He's like, alright, listen, we messed up. Come in here, we'll pay you off, whatever, let's figure this out, let's talk this out. So not the whole town, but 3-4 people from the town come in to negotiate. But in the meantime, while this player was telling them this, the person who robbed the bar has taken the alcohol from behind the bar and has poured it all over the understairs of the bar, the downstairs 2-story bar saloon. So downstairs is soaked in alcohol. The rest of the other 3 members of the party go upstairs. The one guy is sitting there. The people from outside come in. He throws a match on the floor, runs upstairs. The bottom engulfs in flames. Those people that are down there die instantly. But now we have 4 people trapped upstairs in a burning saloon. Not a good place to be in. And when they get upstairs, they find a room that has a prostitute in it, a working girl, with a John. Now they need to get out of this saloon. So my friend has the idea to take the John. One of the party members has the idea to take this John. They hurl him out the 2nd-story window. He falls down below. Then, I don't remember, they took the bed. This is how they did it. This is how they didn't meet the same fate as the last guy. They took the bed out of the room. They hurl the bed out the window. Now they jump out the window and land on the bed. They leave the prostitute in the burning saloon. But now they're just out in the streets with 20 to 30 angry people as this town saloon is burning. And they're getting into a shootout now, so they're just outside on a bed on top of a dead guy in the middle of the road. And they all just have 6 shooters. They're just sitting there on this bed shooting, and they all got killed. There's 20 to 30 people with rifles, shotguns, pistols shooting back at them. They had no cover. So just to reiterate, this gang who's trying to lay low, keep a low profile, get out of their situation. They go to a small town. They get a night at the saloon. They try to steal from the saloon. When they get caught, instead of just giving the money back or talking to the person, they kill them. Then they burn the saloon down with people inside of it, throw a bed out the window, jump onto the bed, and die in a hail of gunshots to the town locals. That was a very fun, exciting game. Just a funny time, But those were some of my tales from from the tabletop. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Something a little different, but I just wanted to, talk about one of my hobbies and interests I haven't talked about much on this channel. I mainly